if you really find something that you're passionate about and you would do it if money didn't matter, if
Mhm.
you could do anything in the world and you pick it and the money's not coming right away, don't quit.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I am your host, the only Kayla, and today my guest is an actor. His name is Nick Creegan, but you may know him for his role as Richie on Law and Order Organized Crime. Nick, how are you feeling today?
Hey, Kayla, what's up? I'm feeling good. Feeling nice to talk to another New Yorker who's based somewhere else. So that's cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, ever since I moved out here, it's like everyone I meet is like from New York. So I feel kind of at home knowing that, New Yorkers attract other New Yorkers. Like we can always
Yeah,
spot a New Yorker out somewhere
always.
else.
The energy is it's just like real. So yeah.
Well, I'm happy to have you today, mainly because I am a huge fan of Law and Order. So I've watched all of the episodes from SVU.
Wow.
And when I heard organized crime, was coming, I was really excited, obviously, because Stabler was coming
People
back
look
to the
back.
big screen. So like, Law and Order fans were huge, like super happy about that. But we just wrapped up the season finale
Yeah.
and oh my God, I love the show.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
How
I
does it feel to be a
I
part of
actually
something like
love the
that?
show too. You know, it's crazy. As a person who I have to admit, I never watched Law and Order like that before this year. After I auditioned, I was like, you know what? Let me acclimate myself a little bit with what this whole craze is over SVU. So what I did was I Googled the best episodes of SVU and I watched like 10 episodes and I was like, okay, I could see why people get addicted to this. And yeah, it just feels amazing to be such part of such a storied franchise.
I know. And what's so funny is like I said, I love SVU. And after I tuned into organized crime and just finished the season, I was like, I think I like it more than SVU.
Yeah, I mean, so do I.
It's such a good show. And I like it because if you like SVU, you have a new case every episode, but this season is literally dedicated to one big case. So
Right.
tell everyone about your role as Richie
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you said, I play Richie Wheatley or Richard Wheatley Jr. on Organized Crime. I'm the son of the pharmaceutical giant Richard Wheatley, who's played by the legendary Dylan McDermott. So Richie is the type of guy where he kind of lets his nice things and his family name speak for him, as opposed to him having his own confidence to speak for himself. He is trying to find his way throughout the series. You see him go through the ups and downs of seeing where he fits in with the family dynamic, especially because his grandfather, Manfredi Sinatra, is a crime boss of one of the crime syndicates in New York. And then his father, Richard, who seems like a legit businessman in the beginning, turns out to be one of the biggest distributors of illegal pharmaceutics. So Richie pretty much goes through a tug of war of trying to be this, soft-hearted good guy, and then I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't watched it, but you see that his whole persona ends up changing throughout the story as he starts to find his way in the criminal underworld. So it was a super fun role to play for the first season. I'll just say it right now. I don't know what's happening season two because I know I'm sure if you're gonna ask what's
Yes.
going on for season two, because they left season one on a crazy cliffhanger. So we don't know what's happening yet, but you can expect to see season two later this fall for sure.
Yeah, so I do know that it got renewed for
Mhm.
another season.
Yeah.
So the way I envisioned probably what would happen was like, all right, so every season they focus on one big case, but with the way the season finale ended, it's like there's no way you guys can leave us like that because there's so many unanswered questions. I mean, again, not to give away too much, but there was a mole,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I was shocked about because I actually thought it was the other
Yeah. Everybody did.
detective. I from the beginning I was like, there's something funny about that one.
Yes.
But I was like, no, not this guy.
Yeah.
So we found that out. And then also your character kind of flips
Hmm.
on your dad,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that obviously didn't work out because he's like Mr. Wheatley,
Still alive.
9 lives.
Yeah, yeah, he's like a cat. It's funny. And it's crazy because as an actor for organized crime, the way they would set up the scripts is we were filming as the show was happening. So, you know,
Really?
Yeah, so like episode 4, we took like a 2-week hiatus after
Mhm.
episode 4, and
Yes.
we were literally filming episodes 5, 6, and 7 like during that time. So the writers were working as we were going along. So with the season finale, like you said, there was a mole. We had no clue who the mole was. And then we read the script and I was like, oh wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. This guy. So it was just really exciting from week to week just to be able to not really know what's fully going to happen. Like when I found out about what happened with Gina, I was like, yo,
I
this
was
is
so sad
crazy.
about that too. Like I was hoping that they would it really like maybe she survived.
That my mom swore up and down, her and her friends at work, they were like, oh, we know that Gina's not dead. Like we
Yeah.
know that Isaac helped and recovered her. And I was like, okay, we'll see.
I thought the same thing that her and Isaac were still alive. I mean, we didn't really hear too much about Isaac after, so I don't know if they're trying to leave that for like a segue to be like, ta-da, he's not really dead. Which I'm hoping, but so you don't know if they're gonna continue that storyline, correct?
Oh yeah, so it's interesting because I feel like originally it was probably going to be like, one family and others, but I
Mhm.
mean, it seems that people really love the Wheatleys on
Yeah.
Twitter. People have been crazy about Richard and Dana and Tamara Wheatley. So it's like we don't know. I'm like, I love the Law and Order universe. So if they ask me to come back next season, I definitely would love to be a part of it. But we should know soon because I'm pretty sure that filming is going to end up starting over the summer.
Well, I sure hope so because I hate watching shows and then it's like if I don't get my answers, I'm like, no, 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 no.
Well,
I
that's
need to
what I
speak to
mean.
the writer. I need to speak to somebody.
I have a feeling that they still have some work to be done
Hmm.
with how they left it off. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But I mean, it's very interesting because this is the first time, like you said, Law and Order fans have been able to follow a storyline outside of the police officers.
Yeah.
So I think people now are just like, oh my God, like we've been waiting for a series like this. We finally got it. And now they're just like locked in and invested.
Yeah. And I think it's true, like what you said. I think they didn't even realize how many people would fall in love with the Wheatley family. And
Right.
so, although probably that wasn't their intention, they may just continue, guys, which I'm hoping. So,
I
fingers
mean, you put
crossed.
McDermott on screen and you
Come
throw in a
on.
few flavorful people in there, and it's just,
Mhm.
of course, people are gonna love it. So yeah.
So now, how does it feel for you to be, again, so early on in your acting career and to be a native New Yorker working on a show that really highlights the New York crime and the New York scene?
It's wild. It feels like I manifested it because to be honest, my favorite movie of all time is Goodfellas. And obviously that was shot in New York. That was shot in Queens. Mostly I live in Queens. So when I found out that I had the audition, I was like, okay, this is cool. At first, I didn't realize it was gonna be the type of series. I thought it was like very much like SVU where it was like one off. And then I read the script and I'm like, this feels different. This is like it almost is as if it's like a cable show.
Mhm.
So I got really invested in Richie and I was like, I really want to play this role now. I feel like this is the type of mafioso role I've been looking for, but he's also like me. He's half black, he's half white. So it's
Mhm.
like I get to kind of really play with that. So for me, it was really a dream come true. Like not even to sound corny or anything, but it was like there is not another series that's this prominent in New York City. I feel like the newest series that was, had many New Yorkers this invested would probably be like Power, I guess.
Mhm.
But Law and Order, one of the biggest shows of all time on TV. For me, it's just been amazing. I mean, I literally have been in Sweet Green getting salad, and the dude is masked up serving salad, and he's like, Richie, yo, what? I was at the airport, and I was going to Costa Rica a couple weeks ago. After we wrapped, I decided to take a little vacation, and the TSA agent, she was looking at my passport, and she looked at me. She's like, nah, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, I don't think so. And she's like, man, Richie, get your killing ass out of here. And I'm like, this is hilarious. So no, it's been a lot of fun. I really love the fact that everybody who has recognized me has so much fun with it. They're like
Mhm.
making jokes. This older couple, they were like, yo, they let you out on bail. And it's just
Oh,
really fun to play with the fans. And for me, it's really all been completely awesome.
yeah, I think that's amazing that you were casted on such a like iconic New York show early on as a native New Yorker and as a main character. You know, you're not an extra, you're not in just one episode, you are a main character. So I think that's amazing. How was it also for you to once you realize, okay, I got this role, and now you're working with, this amazing cast, Christopher Meloni, Dylan McDermott. What was that like for you, like while filming and realizing I'm really here, I'm really working with the greats right now?
Honestly, oh man, Kayla, it's not, I guess it's still surreal in certain senses, but it took me a while to really fully digest it. I got on set, I was ready to work. I was very professional. My first scene was with Dylan when we went down into that wine lair.
Yes.
And I think the second episode was the first time that him and I really had like a really full on conversation. And I had a conversation with him, and there was another dude who was playing a mafia boss, and then this other guy. So we're all in the 40/40 club. That's where the social club was.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting down, and they're Dylan and the other dude who was also a character on The Sopranos, they were just like going back and forth talking about old New York and actors they have played poker with, and just growing up in New York before like all the new buildings and everything. It felt like I was a part of a podcast. It didn't even feel
Mhm.
real. I was like, wow, I'm really on set with some legendary dudes and some great women. I mean, I even got to meet Mariska. Yeah, I met her on set for episode 7. She came up to me and she was like, "Hey, I love your work. You've been doing great." And when she said that, I was like, "This is so crazy to me.
Mhm.
It's really humbling." So no, I mean, I think it's just been a humbling experience for me. It's been a crazy learning experience as well. It almost feels like I'm a part of a master class. I feel like everybody that's been on set with me have, from the directors to everybody, they've been just pouring into me and giving me a lot of knowledge. I feel like I'm set up to do amazing things after this for sure.
No, yeah, for sure. And it's crazy that that's your feeling as an actor working with these people, because I remember the first time I was somewhere and Law and Order was filming, which to me as a fan, I was like, what the heck? Oh my goodness. Like I want to be on set. I
Yeah,
was at John Jay College for a fellowship that I had gotten into, and they were like, oh, by the way, Law and Orders. And I was like, by the way. So I literally left
yeah.
looking for these people, and I was able to meet and take pictures with, I don't know their names, but the actors who play Carisi and Rollins.
Ah,
So
okay, okay.
I
Yeah,
was like, so I can only imagine, the your feeling as an actor working with these people. It's
totally
probably such a
crazy.
great feeling.
I even got a chance to talk to Dick Wolf our first table read. He was on Zoom with us, and that was the day that I found out that Manfredi Sinatra was being played by um,
And yeah, I know who you're talking about.
yes, can't think of his
Mhm.
name right now, but he was in The Bronx Tale. And
Yes.
I'm just like, it's so Chaz Palminteri. I was just like, how is this? Like, this is crazy to me that my first job was David Makes Man on the
Mhm.
Oprah Winfrey Network. That was an amazing experience. And then for this, it's almost as just like these stepping stones have just been really incredible for me. So, no, I mean, I'm excited for season 2, regardless if I want it or not. I'm still gonna watch it. I feel
Yeah.
like they found a great formula with organized crime,
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward to more.
So for people who may not be aware of your story, tell everyone how you kind of transitioned into acting, because you and I share a similar passion.
Yeah, I used to do what
You
you do.
Yeah, you were a journalist. You studied journalism just like I did. So how did you transition from journalism to acting? Because I feel like we don't see that often. We see
Yeah,
journalism to PR, but
yeah.
never journalism
I
to.
um I think the only person similar would be Terrence J. I guess he used to do
Yeah.
strictly hosting and journalism, and then he went into acting, but I think now he's back in hosting. So for me, going to college, growing up as a New Yorker, obviously I was a Yankee fan. I used to see the Yankees win all the time. I was a huge sports guy. I used to love the Knicks. They broke my heart too many times. But I went to college thinking that I wanted to at first be a lawyer. So I was like, okay, let me go into law school. get a good job, make my family proud. And then immediately I was like, yeah, lawyer, that ain't it. I'm not doing any more of this. I'm super invested into sports and I love debating with my friends. So I joined the television station at SUNY Albany. And after that, I got my first internship at ESPN and I started to pretty much, get my reps in writing, interviewing athletes and also entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got my first on camera job in journalism, it was at AOL Sports and I was hosting a satirical sports show. So we would mix sports and comedy and pretty much interview athletes, but then have them act in the sketches that we would write. And after, I think I played Steph Curry after like a press conference and we hired a little actress to be Riley and it went viral. And after that, I was like, yo, I really miss acting. I haven't acted since college. This is like my first chance being able to mix acting and sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do my own Instagram sketches on IG. And one of them ended up going viral. It was me using a Jamaican accent talking about oxtail gravy. And at the time, I transitioned from just doing regular sports journalism, writing, and I was doing producing, documentary film producing for
Mm-hmm.
sports docs. So I was at this creative agency doing sports docs, went viral, and then Oprah Winfrey, I guess her team ended up seeing my sketch and they told Carmen Cuba Casting to reach out to me and see if I wanted to audition for David Makes Men. And I was just like, nah, this can't be real because they reached out to me through DM. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way you get casted on a real TV show through Instagram DM. Come to find out, it's a real audition. I send in my tape, and this is after I got an acting coach for the weekend. So I was like, I really want to take this seriously. Let me get an acting coach for the weekend, send in the tape next week. And within 10 days, they told me I was cast in the show. So I was just back and forth from filming in South Florida to going back to New York, working my full-time job. And my boss at the time, Elaine Parker, it just so happened that her husband's best friend is Jesse Williams. And a lot of
I
people
love Jesse
say,
Williams.
yeah, they're like, he's great. And a lot of people are like, oh, you and him look alike. You remind me of each other.
Mhm.
So she was like, Nick, I really feel like this is your path. I feel like you're supposed to be an actor. So eventually you're going to have to like let go of the full-time job and really chase it.
Mhm.
I was still afraid to let go. So one thing led to another, and I got laid off from Riot Studio. Um, and after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm done applying to full-time jobs. I'm
Mhm.
going to chase this thing. And that was in January of 2019. So for 2 years, it took me 24 months from January 19 to January 21 when I got Law and Order. And yeah, I've just been fully invested ever since that.
Wow, that's such an amazing story because I'm a firm believer in like what's for you will be for you no matter what.
Sure.
So, definitely acting was your calling. I'm sure you're still passionate about journalism, but acting was
No,
definitely
for
your calling.
sure. I actually I read a article 2 days ago from the Poynter Institute, the Poynter Journalism Institute,
Hmm.
and it's really about once you're a journalist, you're never not. So it's
Yeah.
like you can leave journalism, daily journalism, and move on to other things, but you're always gonna have that, inquisitive spirit. You're always gonna want to ask good questions. You might
Mhm.
even be interested in still interviewing people. Like for me, outside of acting, I own a production company with my business partner Nana Kwame Ajebrenya, who's a great author, and also Kwame Onuwachi, who's a chef. So we started a production company and we create content, both scripted and non-scripted. So Kwame and myself, we actually have a show on the horizon where we'll be interviewing people um, and pretty much doing like a culture style show on the
Mhm.
internet. So I'm not walking away completely
Yeah.
from journalism. I'm just trying to figure out how to mix both the worlds.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you that too. Like during your time off now from Law and Order, do you see yourself maybe freelancing, writing an article here and there? But you have your production company, so I'm sure your hands are full with that.
Yeah, so we've been right now. I mean, I took a break. I'm not gonna lie. Like I started eating I started like being able to pig out a little bit because
Hmm.
I wasn't sure how many shirtless scenes they were gonna have. Like so, I was like, let me make sure my body's right because actually in the jail, the last scene in the jail episode with me, I was supposedly gonna be like completely shirtless, but they only showed my back. So I was like, damn, I worked out and got my six pack right, and nobody even got to see it. But it helped me get motivated for working out. But now I'm like taking a cool little break. I went back to the gym today for the first time in like 3 weeks. So yeah.
So now you said there was like a time lapse from January 2019 to January 2021 where you were kind of really trying to pursue the acting. What was that time like for you? Because I know sometimes there may be some people out there who they're trying to pursue their dream as well, but they don't see it right away. What advice would you give to them? Because it was, a year and a half too that you really were like, all right, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this work. What advice would you give to them?
If you really find something that you're passionate about and you would do it if money didn't matter, if
Hmm.
you could do anything in the world and you pick it and the money's not coming right away, don't quit. Because I remember there were times where I'm just like, how the hell am I going to pay rent? Like, how am I going to be able to figure this out? Going from a well paid job where I'm getting a steady paycheck every 2 weeks, I have a 401k, all of that corporate stuff that's set up for me, and then transitioning where I haven't worked in a restaurant since high school, but all of a sudden serving people. There were times where I had former bosses from the corporate world that would come into the restaurant and I'm serving them. And it
Hmm.
would be like a mind dump for me because I was like, am I doing the right thing? Like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here serving food to people that I used to work with and work for. And I said I'm an actor, and all of a sudden I'm in a restaurant, but it's like
Yeah.
you kind of just have to let your ego go out the window. Like that's definitely a piece of advice, and realize that it's gonna take hard work and time, but eventually it will pay off. There was a time where I definitely felt like giving up because I hadn't gotten any callbacks or any traction for months, and I got cast in this showcase where I found my agent through that showcase. Um, but yeah, there were very, very trying months for sure. There were times where I was just like, nah, let me just go back and be realistic. But if you find a passion and it's in the entertainment industry or arts or whatever it might be, and it's not realistic, whenever you do get that break, it's gonna feel so rewarding, and you'll realize like, damn, imagine if I'd have given up a week before I got my break, you know?
Hmm.
So for me, it's just been completely the whole process has been the rewarding part.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like even just journalists out there, we're definitely days where we're just like,
Oh,
man, I'm not doing this. This is too much. This is crazy because a lot there. I don't think only journalists know how much work it really takes to be a journalist. There's people who watch TV and think that's so easy. They're just going in front of camera and talking. It's like if you knew the packages I had to do, if you knew the editing I had to do, like it's crazy. And I know sometimes I have a lot of journalist friends who feel like this is not a rewarding, like, we're overworked, underpaid. Like this is just like a whole thing. But I tell people that the same thing too. Like if it's your passion, like just go for it and do it because it's hard.
exactly. It is hard, but you know what? Nothing in life that's worth it is just easy. If I
Yeah.
if if I got, like, for instance, I wanted all of this 2 years ago, but if I would have gotten it 2 years ago right away, I would have never really appreciated it. I wouldn't
Mhm.
have really felt like I worked for it. Maybe easy come, easy go kind of thing. And I feel like journalism. I spoke to a bunch of journalism students the other day, and I was telling them, journalism and acting, they're pretty synonymous in a way because very often you can be working a few journalism gigs at a time, everything's on fire, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden things go cold. You're not working for a
Yeah,
while. There's like no money coming in. So it's very much like auditioning in a sense. It's not, I don't really see journalism as a typical 9 to 5 anyway. A lot of people look at
it's not.
journalism and they're like, oh wow, that's like being a movie star or whatever,
Mm-mm. No.
so
Yeah. And it's funny you said that because there's this guy out here who I guess is filming I don't know if it's a movie. I'm not sure what he's filming, but he's filming something. He's not like a film director, but he's like a videographer. And so
Mhm.
he reached out to me last week and was like, "Hey, do you act?" And I was like, I don't know. I've never acted before." He's like, "Oh, but you're a reporter." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I don't even know if I'm good at that." Like, but I feel like it's similar. Like, you
I
can
mean, think
kind
about
of
it like this. You might have a terrible day one day, right? You might have been
Mhm.
just like super pissed, and then you have to interview somebody on camera. You can't be pissed during the interview.
Right.
So you kind of have to put on a good face regardless.
That's
So
true.
I feel like, especially in a lot of movies, like there's a show I'm addicted to right now called Startup. Have you watched it?
No. Where is
Oh,
it on Netflix,
yeah,
Hulu,
you need to watch it. It's on Netflix.
Startup?
It's so good.
No,
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
it's so good. But anyway, there's a journalist from CNN that's actually on there doing a news report for the show, and I'm like, journalists are needed in movies and TV shows doing their
Yeah.
actual jobs. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, like
So
prior to this, I was working for CBS News out here, CBS 46 News. And it was funny because I was watching Greenleaf on Netflix. Not sure if you're
mhm.
familiar with that show.
Yeah.
That's an amazing show. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden there's like this new segment come on, and I'm like, that's my coworker.
That's
Like
crazy.
it was literally one of the anchors from my job who I'm really cool with. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? And that's something I would do. Like if someone was to ask me to do that, I feel like I would love to do that,
Yeah. I
as
feel
like a
like
journalist
those
role.
those are the fun jobs too that you get to kind of like get paid to do what you do in real life on screen, you know?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
So now if for whatever reason they do not continue this story for season two, what
Mhm.
is next for you? Have you started auditioning for other things?
Yeah, yeah. I'm constantly auditioning. I feel like I'm not gonna lie, like after the Law and Order traction happened, I feel like a lot of my auditions started to get very much more entertaining for me. I'm like, oh, okay, they want to see me for this. All right, cool. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of cool things down the pipeline. Um, I have a film that I'm doing independently later in the summer with one of my friends out in LA in the desert. That should be really awesome. So no, I'm like constantly creating my own ideas on my own, but also auditioning for really awesome projects on both the movie screen and television and streaming platforms, everything like that. So yeah, I feel like the next few months, people are definitely going to see some awesome stuff from me. So definitely be on the lookout for that.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Growing up, because it seems as though you've always kind of liked acting. Um, was there a specific actor that you like wanted to like look up to or say, I want to work with that person or work under?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I recently somebody sent me, I think it was my brother, he sent me one of those, those choices on Instagram where you have to pick three
Yeah.
people. So
Hmm.
he sent me one. It was like, oh, if you could make a movie with yourself and these three, pick three of these actors, who would it be? And there were like 15 actors, and Robert De Niro was on the list, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jamie Foxx, Denzel. And I was like, damn, this is so tough because I've looked up to so many of these people. But for me, as a kid, like Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, um, Jim Carrey, a lot of guys who were able to be funny, but also very serious. Like, I feel like all of those people I just named, they could play a very funny, interesting person, but also like a murderer if they wanted to
Hmm.
as well. And that's, I think, my sweet spot. I feel like I'm naturally goofy and funny in regular everyday life. So being able to play somebody that would shoot somebody in a TV show is interesting and fun to me because it's like I wouldn't be like that in real everyday life. So I just feel like every actor who's able to be dynamic in their choices, they stick out to me completely. Right now, if I had to work with anybody, I would say I would love to work with Mahershala Ali.
Hmm.
Um, I would love to work with Leonardo DiCaprio. I feel like Leo is probably the best actor of our generation to me. Him and Joaquin Phoenix, I just feel like the way they do their roles, and very few people could ever be what they are. And Denzel for sure. I think he's just a legend. He's from Westchester. He's from Mount Vernon, so I feel like that would be awesome. And yeah,
I didn't know Denzel was from Mount Vernon.
yep,
That's crazy. I
Mount
didn't know
Vernon.
that. Those are, but I think those are really good. Those are really good actors. Like I love Jamie Foxx,
So
Will
great.
Smith. Those people like they can play any role, and you're like, how do you get better and better? Like,
Yeah,
you
Jamie
know?
is like one of the most talented people, period, in everything. Like he can
Hmm.
end up, he could play instruments.
Yeah. Now I also want to talk about your family is from Jamaica. How proud is your mom and your family right now that her baby boy is on the big screen and also just being a part of something as big as this and being able to represent for Jamaica?
It's incredible because I mean, my grandmother, my mom's mom, she came to this country with honestly very little. They grew up super poor in Jamaica. There were eight children. My grandma and my grandpa had eight kids. They lived in a one-bedroom house in Jamaica, in like the country, not even like Kingston. A lot of people, everybody's from Kingston. But my family's from a small town, small parish called St. Mary. So well, the town is Jacks River within the parish of St. Mary.
Mhm.
And it's like a small river town, chickens, goats everywhere. I used to go there as a kid and I hated it as a kid because my mom didn't want me being too Americanized. So she would like, make sure I go out there for the summers. But now I love it. I go like as much as I possibly can. But they are so proud because the country of Jamaica, Jamaicans are very proud people. So the minute they find out you have any amount of Jamaican roots, they're going to claim you and pick you up. I got a really dope interview the other day, a really dope feature story in the Jamaican Observer, which is like
Mhm.
New York Times of Jamaica. So I had like this crazy spread in there, and my family out there. I think the story came out at like 6 a.m. and they put it out. My family out there was sending us multiple photos of all the papers that they bought by like 7 a.m. And it's really just awesome to be able to represent for such a small island in such a big way. So yeah, everybody's proud. I can't wait to get back to Jamaica because the treatment out there when you're doing stuff for the country is just, oh my God, it's so fun. Like going to carnival and people, wanting to cook for you and just be
Mhm.
around you is a really great feeling. So yeah, it's awesome. It's been completely mind blowing to know that they came from such a small, humble beginning, and now they're able to say, "Oh, my son is doing this, that, and the third." Like my mom is in Jamaica right now, actually, as we speak. She went on a vacation there, so she's probably using that Law and Order card.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a celebrity now, so you get your family got to pull that
Yeah,
card,
they got
celebrity
to pull the card.
treatment. Do you know who my son is?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, as we wrap up this interview, I always end my interviews with a fun rapid fire segment called Five Questions Nobody Ever Asks.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
I'm going to ask you five questions and then you have to answer them, in a timely manner.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question is, who is the most famous contact in your phone?
Uh, Most famous contact in my phone.
Yeah.
I have a contact to Oprah Winfrey if I needed to speak to her.
Okay. That is the contact.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number two is, if you could switch bodies or lives with anybody right now for 24 hours, who would it be?
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
He's probably on vacation right now.
It is. I would love to be wherever LeBron is right now.
Right, for 24 hours.
Definitely.
That's a good spot. Question number three is, if you could be a part of any television series, what series would it be? Like if you can play a character.
I really love I really love Succession. I would love to play like a new character in Succession. That would be fun. And I've always wanted to be on an HBO series.
Hmm. I
Would you
think you would be good in Euphoria too. Do you watch Euphoria on HBO?
Euphoria is dope. I love the
I
way
love Euphoria.
Euphoria is awesome. I would be in Euphoria too for sure. I just hope I wouldn't have to play a drug addict. But yeah,
Yeah, because the show is a little crazy.
it's dark,
So
crazy.
uh any role you play, I feel like you probably gonna have to do something outside of your comfort
Oh,
zone.
100%. Yeah.
I was even shocked to see Zendaya do a lot of stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not used to
she
this.
really killed it. I feel like that took her on a whole nother level.
Yeah, for sure. Question number four, who is your favorite Jamaican artist right now?
Music?
Yeah,
I would say Popcorn.
Popcorn. All right,
Yeah.
that's a good pick.
Yeah, lit to all his stuff.
And question number five is, what is your hidden talent,
Mm,
if you have any?
my hidden talent. Um, I'm an amazing chef.
Okay.
If I
What's
wasn't
your
an actor, I could easily be a chef.
Okay, so what's like your best dish that you make, you would say? Like
Anything,
nobody's topping you with this one.
anything that has to deal with curry.
Okay.
Yeah. Make a
Hey,
mean,
Viv,
mean
may
curry.
open up a spot.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, you want to know my dream job?
That's a
my
good
dream
question. I didn't
job,
ask that. What's your dream job?
my dream job is actually to own a little fish shack on a beach where I like catch fresh fish every day and cook it on the beach.
Yeah.
And everybody's like talking about this little shack all over the world. They're like, yo, you gotta go check out Nick's fish shack.
Would you do it in Jamaica?
I probably would want to do it somewhere besides Jamaica because there's so many ones in Jamaica. I would want to do it where it's like I'm the only one, like maybe in, I don't know, a coast somewhere in Italy or something like that.
Thank you so much, Nick, for virtually stopping by. We had a great conversation, and I'm happy
Yeah,
that I was able to interview a fellow journalist, a New Yorker. Um, Lastly, just tell everybody where they can follow you and what you have coming up.
for sure. You could follow me on all social media handles at Nick Creegan. That's Creegan. And I have a really cool film coming up later this summer. It probably will be released winter of this year or early next year. And other than that, if you haven't watched Law and Order Organized Crime yet, you could stream it on Hulu. You could also stream it on the Peacock Network app. And yeah, peace and love to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Kayla, thank you. Appreciate it.